Hello everybody, this is NQ Productions here, and welcome to the very first episode of NQ Archives in 2021. In this episode, we're taking a look back at the longest animation I have ever created, and that is no joke. If you add the duration of both parts, you get an animation that's almost 40 minutes long. And that video is Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3. Now before we dive into today's episode, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos from me, then consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel today. It's free and it really helps out with the channel. Anyways, back to the video. Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 is the third and final entry in the Stick Figure Fighting Tournament series. Now I know what you're thinking. If this is the final entry in the series, then why is there Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4? Well, Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4 was a complete April Fool's joke and was a non-canonical entry in the Stick Figure Fighting Tournament series. So even though Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4 was another tournament, it's not considered a canonical entry, and therefore I still consider Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 to be the final entry in the series. Now due to this animation's extreme length, this video had to be split into two parts. Part 1 was released on September 11th, 2019, and Part 2 was released on September 18th, 2019. Like I said before, not only is this the longest animation I've ever made, but it's also the animation that I've spent the most time on, since Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 took me an entire year to get finished. And even though there's a lot of quantity in this video, the quality isn't exactly perfect. Let's start off with the voice acting, because not only back then was I not the greatest at voice acting, but I had to voice act a lot of characters in this animation. Not only did I have to voice act every single contestant, but I also had to voice act the announcers and the dad and his son at the beginning of the video. So I had to voice act 36 characters in this animation, and I didn't do that great of a job. You can easily tell that it's me. There's the first half of round 1. Let's continue. Maybe being metal isn't the best idea. No kidding. My claws. Another thing that sucks about the voice acting is that I didn't have a program like Audacity at the time where I could edit my voice in order to make it sound different. Thankfully I have Audacity now, which means that I can edit my voice in order to make my voice sound different, such as the female and child voices in my Bite of 83 animation.
Leave me alone, Cassidy. I'm trying to stay awake, but it's not easy.
And the chipmunk voices during my Chipmunks Christmas animation.
Alvin, it's a little early to say that. Ah, come on.
Now let's talk about the animation of Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3. And in my opinion, the animation of Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 is just okay. There's definitely some effort put into the animation, but you can definitely tell that I tried to take some shortcuts with this animation, with some scenes running at 2 frames per second rather than the average 10 frames per second. And I also did a lot of copy and pasting, not to mention that the lip sync in this video is pretty lazy. But that doesn't mean that the animation itself is terrible, because like I said earlier, there's lots of effort put into this animation, and the animation that's done in this video creates some pretty engaging action scenes. Speaking of action, the fights in Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 are actually very well done, with some decent fight choreography and some engaging action that makes for some long and intense battles. Not only that, but the common complaint of the Stick Figure Fighting Tournament franchise is that the battles are too short, but Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 fixes this problem with having each battle last at least a minute. I also like the way that the execution was done in this video, with each of the new contestants in Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 having some very creative and unique abilities. I also really like the character interactions in this video. When each of the fighters talk to each other, it gives the video a little bit of personality, and I really enjoyed that because it makes this video more enjoyable than it otherwise would have been. Another thing that I somewhat enjoyed in Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 was the music. The music that I chose for this animation was pretty solid, although during some battles the music played way too loud, and I definitely could have turned down the music in some battles. The last thing that I'll critique in this video is the editing. This was the last animation that I ever edited using Windows Movie Maker, and although there's a couple of small editing issues, the editing is still alright. When I edited this video, I definitely tried to make sure that there were no errors, but nothing is perfect, and there's definitely going to be some errors that will slip through the cracks. So in general, Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 is a solid video. Even though the voice acting, the animation, and the editing isn't perfect, it's still an entertaining video with some engaging action, some nice character interactions, some entertaining battles, well-executed fight choreography, and some creative powers. This is definitely the best stick figure fighting tournament out of the 3, and I highly recommend checking it out after this video if you're a fan of the stick figure fighting tournament series. For my final score, I'm going to give this video a 7 out of 10. It's definitely not the perfect video, but it's not a terrible video, and it's quite entertaining to watch. Even though the stick figure fighting tournament series is over, at least I ended the series on a pretty decent note. So those are my current thoughts on Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3. So what did you guys think of SFFT 3? Did you enjoy it or did you dislike it? Let me know down in the comments below. But with that said guys, thank you for watching NQ Archives Episode 8, and I will see you all in the next video. See you later guys!